Miss, morning, brothers. Morning, sir. Today I want to reflect on one of the most powerful teaching of our Lord, which is the parable of the Good Samaritan. We can find this story in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. But from this parable, we can see that the man is picked and left for dead by the side of the road. But an interesting happened in the story. A priest and a Levite that came and passed by without helping him. He didn't even care to ensure that he receives a good care from him. But the Good Samaritan, he did have a heart to help him. He did have a heart to make sure that he received a good care from him. So that's the parable that I'm going to reflect on today. So as we dive into the message of this parable today, that I invite you to consider that who is your neighbor, or who is who is our neighbor, and how do we express our love and compassion through our daily lives. In the context of Jesus' time, that the Samaritans were seen as an outsiders, as enemies of the Jewish people. But yet, it's a Samaritan who did embody the true meaning of love and the true meaning of mercy. The Good Samaritan, he did embody the true meaning of love and the true meaning of mercy. So as we see in the parables, that each scene of the parables, it always teaches us something. From that scene, this parable that challenges us to look beyond our societal boundaries, not just like the priest and the Levite who was passed by. We don't even know, maybe they were judgmental or what. That's why they didn't even help me. But this can teach us that we have to look beyond our societal boundaries. So let's examine first the action of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan, he not only sees the man in need, but he did take the initiative to help him. That's from the Good Samaritan. He binds his wounds and ensures that he receives a good care from him. Also from this parable, that love is active, and it's required us to look beyond mere sympathy to physical action, or look beyond mere sympathy to tangible action. So now as we think about when we encountered someone in need, perhaps it was a neighbor that's struggling with groceries, or a friend of yours or friends of mine that going through a difficult times, or even a strangers that need someone to hear her or to hear his stories out. So as we encountered them, but the parable that tells us, that tells us how to help our neighbors in need. So how did we and how do you or how do I respond with someone that's going through difficult times, or a neighbor that's struggling with groceries? How do we respond to that? It's clearly from the parable of the Good Samaritan that urges us to reflect on our willingness to extend love, and even those we initially consider others. From the parable the parable we read that urges us to reflect on our willingness to extend help, and even to those that we might initially consider others. I'd like to share a story of a community that coming together during a crisis. In a small town, a devastating flood that affected many homes. But neighbors who heartily knew each other and relied together, so bringing the food together, helping them, and even helping with repairs. So we can see from that it was a beautiful example of loving one's neighbor, people across divide, and offering love and offering support from this parable. So from this whole image I just mentioned in my reflection, and this is the essence of the Good Samaritans. It's about being a neighbor in our action and being a neighbor in our attitudes. So let's consider one important question from this that we can draw from the parable of the Good Samaritans. That why do we hesitate to help sometimes? Of course, we are human beings, we do have our fears, we do have our indifferences. Why do we hesitate to help someone? It could be our fear, it could be our differences, as I mentioned. And also, it could be the belief that we have. It's someone else's responsibility. Sometimes we do have that belief when we're trying to help someone. But our fears and our differences that holds us back from helping someone. And that belief, that is someone else's responsibility. But Jesus, from the parable of the Good Samaritans, that teach us that love is not limited by our comfort zones, but it often calls us to step out and embrace the discomfort of serving others. So from the parable of the Good Samaritans, of course, is a profound reminder of our call to love our neighbors, regardless of their backgrounds or whatever situation they have, or whatever situation they face. So as we live here today, I encourage each and every one of us to reflect on this. Who is God calling you to be a neighbor to this week? As we reflect on that, who is God calling us to be a neighbor to this week? So let's not just hear this message, but live it out and allowing our love to flow into our action in our daily lives. So may we embody the compassion of the Good Samaritan, creating a community where love knows no boundaries. Not a mission.